Welcome, everyone, to Talented Universe on the NDB Media Network. This is the 19th of August, 2025, when we're going to have three guests today from Vertical Dramas. So that's going to be exciting, but I'll talk about that at the end of the show. Marcia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great here in Northeast Florida, still warm, but Hurricane Erin is off the coast, so we're okay for now.
That's
Glad to
good.
be here.
That's good. Liz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's going to be one of the hotter days up here in Sacramento, but other than that, I'm doing great and so excited for this interview that we're having today. This man, I swear to God, it took me like 5 hours just going through all of your information. I'd love to introduce to you guys Brian O'Shea, the multi-wizard of multiple stuff. I cannot believe some of the stuff you have done. I swear. One thing before we get into a lot of stuff, just bring it back kind of to the beginning of how you eventually got into acting and verticals and everything else.
Okay, that's
Yeah, because there's a lot of content here.
yeah. So let's see, where can I start? I think my beginning in acting was probably very early in life. I think when I was a kid, I was always, performing for the family and stuff like that. And like everybody was like, "Oh, you're such an actor. You're gonna be an actor one day." And I was like, "No, I want to be a brain surgeon." And I went to med school for 2 years, and then I was like, "No, this is not my thing. I'm just gonna go travel around the world, find myself." 10 years later, I want to be an actor. Full circle there. So I moved to Australia. I'm from Argentina, by the way, originally. Born and raised there. Moved to Australia to study acting. And then I studied for 2 years. And then I was like, I want to have a food channel in China. So I moved to China for 7 years. I had a food channel there. I dabbled into acting over there and some TV shows, TV dramas, and movies. And then I was like, I'm ready for the next step. Let's move to Hollywood. And I came here, and then the strikes started as soon as I moved here. So none of the big Hollywood projects were going on. And then verticals started popping off. And then, I did one, and I kind of got hooked, and it was so much fun. And now I'm doing as many as I can.
I think that's hysterical as far as how you started and how you made your full circle. But you had mentioned something that, one, you're Argentinian born, but you also have an Italian passport.
That's right.
You want to explain how that came about? Because you weren't born in Italy.
No, I've never been to Italy, actually.
So
I've never, my body has never been in Italy. So this is funny. Argentinians, we have a lot of European lineage. We have a lot of European ancestors. And so when I was born, my parents kind of found that 4 generations up, somebody was Italian and you could inherit that citizenship. So they did all the paperwork. They had to find, birth certificates and like boat trips to Argentina and stuff like that. And they gather all the documentation. And so when I was young, I just had an Italian passport. And so my parents, they were like, if you're going to walk around with an Italian passport, might as well send you to an Italian school to learn the language and the history and all that. So I speak Italian. I know everything there is to know about Italy. Never been to the place.
that's a shame. You've traveled literally all over the world, and yet you have yet to make it to Italy. That needs to be like a top priority at some point.
You want to hear why?
Why?
Well, before you do, Liz, I got to post this. We'll just post it in the chat room. I just got back from Italy. You should visit. That's all I'm going to say.
That's cool.
That's Edward.
Thank you, Edward.
Go ahead, Liz.
But no, like I said, you posted food blogs. You've traveled all over the world. You need to make Italy one of your top priorities because the food there is astonishing.
I know, and I haven't been on purpose. So this is so stupid, but it's just a bit that I started like 10 years ago, and I'm sticking to it. I want to go to Italy when I am rich. I want to go there and spend all the money. I want to go to the nicest hotels in Positano and Cinque Terre. I want to go to all the good restaurants. I want to buy a vineyard, buy maybe an orchard, like a retiring home for myself. I want to go big when I go to Italy, so that's why I haven't been yet.
Well, that actually makes sense because you don't want to do like what you did when you were younger, traveling around in the hostels and different things. You want to actually enjoy the opulence of it. So that
I'm
makes
impressed that you know that too. The traveling around in hostels. I
yeah.
backpacked for 2 years. And I'm 32 now. I don't want to share a bathroom. I don't want to
No,
hear other people snoring. No,
no. I have a hard enough time hearing my partner snoring, let alone some stranger. So no,
exactly.
no.
So yeah, we're past that now.
So I know that you said that you had basically when you moved from Argentina because you had certain feelings with not totally fitting in because of the crowd, and then
Yeah.
you moved to Australia, I believe, and settled there. But isn't that what gave you your boost to want to try China and to try
Yeah,
Chinese
yeah.
food and move to China?
So let me expand a little bit more on the Argentinian thing. I think growing up in a family that didn't really like soccer, um, I kind of grew up to be an outcast because I just didn't like soccer. I didn't watch soccer, I didn't play soccer, and in Argentina, it's such a big part of
The
everyone's life
big
that it
part.
was just like we don't want to be your friend. And so I didn't have many friends growing up, and like I always felt like I didn't belong, and so that kind of gave me a want to go and explore the world and find my place. So then I went back into Europe for 2 years. And then after that, I went to Australia. And the funny thing is, it was just because the cheapest place to rent an apartment was Chinatown in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
And so I ended up there sharing a room with a bunch of people. It was like 9 people in one apartment, one bathroom kind of thing. And all my friends were from different Asian countries, all my roommates, and they started taking me to different restaurants, and I was like, holy moly, this food is delicious. So in Argentina we don't have a lot of Chinese food. You only have like fried rice and like fried noodles and stuff like that. And we actually, this is gonna be so bad to say out loud, but we say sushi is Chinese food in Argentina, at least when I was a kid,
Oh
and that
boy.
always bothered me. Um, and so getting to Australia, which has a huge Asian population and a huge Chinatown, I started trying all these things that I've never tried before. And it was like a revelation. I was like, I need to go there and eat my life away.
No, definitely, definitely. And I'm going to give it to Marcia for a couple minutes, and I'll come back to when you get into China. But I'm sure she
Oh,
has
yeah.
a ton of questions too.
Well, I'm just here giggling because I'm listening up to already. It's part of your story, and it's amazing. I read that well in Chinese China, and you're humongous. You have a humongous following, and so you've been in something like my true friend and Gank Your Heart and
Mm.
how did you get started in China? Because that is probably not the easiest thing to do.
No, so that's a whole massive side quest that I did. Because like originally my dream was to be an actor, right? And then I was like, I feel like the universe is telling me go and have a food channel for a bit. And so I go to China. I started doing all these videos about food, and at that point I didn't speak Chinese. And so I did them in English. And I was doing them for YouTube. I thought, oh, maybe I can be one of those YouTubers that travels around China. Nobody was watching my stuff. It was two views per video. One of them was my mom. The other one was me. And, yeah. And then I was dating this girl at the time, and she's like, I feel like if you were to put Chinese subtitles on this, you would do really well here in China. And so I did. And the first video I uploaded went viral. It got reviewed by some other creator that was huge over there, and I went viral immediately. And within 6 months, I was being invited to talk shows and in Chinese, and I had to learn so fast. That's why I think my Chinese is so good right now because I had so much pressure to just you have no other choice but to learn Chinese. And so I spent many hours just studying at home. I'm self-taught. Um, and yeah, I started acting in shows, like you said, True Friend, My True Friend, Gank Your Heart. But that was kind of extra from the social media. I gained popularity from my food channel, um, and then productions were inviting me because I had that already that popularity, and I could come in. Also, in China at that point, people that look like me, speak Chinese, and can act. It's like two. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
you're
as soon as
gold.
as soon as there was a need for a character like me, they would just call me. There were no auditions. It was just, hey, can you be here on this day? Yes,
Mm.
cool. Yeah.
So with one of your food interests was I saw mango. I love mangoes. So do you have a particular like for mangoes, or I saw that
Mangoes.
you yeah.
Yeah. I eat mango. I like mangoes. I don't think I
Okay.
saw many mangoes in China. I
Yeah.
think my food channel was very focused on Chinese food.
Mm-hmm.
I did some other stuff, but Chinese food was kind of my bread and butter. I traveled to every province, most, like I would say 98% of Chinese provinces, just to try their local foods.
Mm.
Mango is just not in the menu over there, but I love mangoes. Yeah.
um, with your presence on shows, you're perfect for game shows. I mean,
For what? Sorry.
game shows for. Have you? I understand you've hosted or been on game shows.
Yeah. So there's been a couple. I was on. I think the biggest claim to fame, quote unquote, would be. Do you guys know Wipeout?
Oh
Very much.
yes, I love
Show the
Wipeout.
American
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
Wipeout that you
Oh
jump on
yeah.
things over water.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I did a very similar
I'm
thing. It's not officially Wipeout, but it's a
yeah.
very similar format.
That
And
is actually, I think, what Wipeout was modeled after, because
I believe so.
we try to get a lot of the stuff from the original countries that was either Japan or China. So I've seen a lot of the original stuff.
I
Hmm.
So
think
yeah.
maybe yeah, maybe it was that one. I don't know if it was originally. It's to me it sounds like a Japanese thing, like it would have been a Japanese
Mm-hmm.
original, but I don't know. It could have been from China. I think this is the one I participated in was a little bit newer, I believe, than Wipeout. Um, but yeah, the whole thing is that I was doing a video, one of my YouTube videos, and I claimed I had never done this before. I didn't know. I thought I was going to lose immediately. And so I made a bunch of bold claims. I was like, oh, that's so easy. I'm just going to wear a suit. And so I wore a suit to Wipeout, and I actually finished the whole thing.
Oh my God.
And so people were
Okay.
like, wait, what? And I was surprised myself. And that video was one of my most viral videos in
That
Chinese
is
social media.
funny.
Yeah.
No.
I can send you the link. I think I have that video on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
be
you
fun to
definitely
see.
should. It'd be very
Yeah.
fun. Marsha,
Go ahead, Liz.
if I could steal here for just a second. Okay, you talked about a lot of this stuff. How many dialects of Chinese do you speak? I know you speak Mandarin,
Mhm.
but how many other dialects do you speak?
That's it. I only speak Mandarin. There's like I believe 56
Yeah, something like that.
dialects. They are
My
so hard.
my brother-in-law has down, I think, 5 of them plus other countries.
Whoa,
His wife is from Hong Kong, but her parents are from mainland, like
that's
Beijing
incredible.
area. So, um, when you would have to act or do other things, and you said they called you up because you were the fit the perfect white guy type thing. Did you think in English first or in Chinese first to translate?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the first few times that I acted in Chinese, I was given scripts, and I did not know 85% of the characters on the paper. And
Really?
they were given to me in Chinese. So I had to like one by one go into this app called Pleco, write them, just imitate the writing with my hand, just try to figure out which character it is, and write the pronunciation, the phonetic pronunciation on top of the script for all the pages I had. And then I was saying stuff. I would ask friends, I'm like, how would you say this sentence in a natural cadence, Chinese cadence? And they would just reply, and I was like, all right, cool. And I had all these audios for each scene, for each line, and I'll listen to it and then practice it and just memorize it. And so the first few roles, especially my true friend, I have no idea what I'm saying. No.
Okay.
And so I was definitely thinking in English. And I was thinking, am I screwing this up? Am I saying things right? I do think I have a good ear, so I think I nailed it now looking back into those things, but I had no idea what I was saying. I think now at this point in my life, because when you learn a language, if you learn it the right way, you essentially separate your brain into like a child in that language. And you start learning like you're like a baby, right? You start learning from zero. And so now I can think in Chinese when I speak. But yeah.
So have you ever startled, like when you're here in LA based, and you ever like call an Uber and get in the Uber and startle the driver by actually speaking Chinese or anything like that? Have you really?
It's one of my favorite things to do.
That is so cool. That is cool.
I wait a little bit, I let them say a bunch of stuff maybe on the phone, or just like I hear that the navigation system is in Chinese, and then I wait until the end and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, I really appreciated your time, or something like that. And they go like, what? And they look back, and they look in the mirror and they look back and they're like, wait, you're not Chinese.
You're a white guy, why are you doing that?
Yeah. Because I have a very good, since you asked about the dialects, it's not a dialect, but I have a very good Beijing accent.
Okay.
So I can sound like an old person from the Hutongs of Beijing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have some family that would love you. Speaking of China and different things, would you mind explaining what your Chinese name means and how you got it?
Sure. So my Chinese name is Xia Bo. It's actually very easy. I get it to myself. My English name, well, it means, I guess, Spanish name because I'm Argentinian, but it's in English. It's an Irish name, Brian O'Shea. The initials are, unfortunately, B.O. And so B.O. Bo in Chinese. And if you they like to double things up to make them cuter. So Bo was my name, and then Xia, the last name of the surname of my name just means summer because I like summer. And it kind of translates, if you want to translate it, it would be summer waves. But it's just a phonetic thing from my English name. Okay.
Because I had heard a little rumor floating around as well that there's a certain nickname because of your love of hot foods.
Oh boy. How do you know this? How do you find this?
No. I have my ways, but
that's crazy. That's crazy that you know that. Okay, so that's a different name. That's a nickname. It's Xia Die Ju. So that literally translates to the iron. So the iron chrysanthemum flower, and then my last name. So essentially they're calling me the iron chrysanthemum flower, and chrysanthemum flower is an analogy for your butt. Because I eat very spicy food, so essentially they're calling me the iron.
Yeah.
Because I eat very spicy.
So. Yeah. Now that I've embarrassed you, I'll throw it over to Michael.
Brian, I missed some of the questions, so if I say a question, just say, Michael, they asked me that. What, in your opinion, has been your favorite vertical to act in so far?
Ooh. Okay, this is not even. I already know what I'm gonna say. But it hasn't come out yet. It's about.
Well, then don't say it. Then if it hasn't come out yet,
I know what I can say.
Okay, just as long as you know what you can say.
Yes, legally speaking.
Exactly.
Because we're gonna have. I don't know if you guys know about VertFest.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have a panel for it, so people know. We've been posting a lot about it. It's coming out at the end of the month. It's called Game of Choice.
Yep. Michael, you stole it from me.
I tried. I wasn't sure if you'd ask him.
Not
But
yet.
that is not only just the best vertical I've ever done, it's the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Like filming wise, it's the best production I've ever been a part of. And that's kind of what I want to do. That's the standard that I want to do. Action. It's action packed, stunts every day. I'm a martial artist, so that was my bread and butter. Every day I was just excited to be on set. We need 14-hour days, 16-hour days. That's what I want to do with my life. So I wish that was the standard moving forward. I wish everything I do from now on is that or more, you know? But that was incredible. That was an incredible experience. Yes, I think I can say who else is in it if you guys are interested, and I can say a bit more. So we had the main cast was Felix Murbach, Kelsey Mark. I forgot her last name, Marks. But Kelsey, she's very famous.
Kelsey Maskell?
Maskell, yeah. Then we have Elise Luthman, we have Sophia DeLucchi, and Michael Vaccaro. And Charlie Hood something. Anyways, incredible cast. I love them so much. They're family at this point. We spent 14 or 15 days filming. This was the longest vertical I've ever even heard of. The highest budget. I cannot disclose how much money was spent on this, but it's the highest budget I've ever heard of on a vertical. And yeah, it's all. I don't want to compare it to other IPs, but I've heard people mention things like Saw, Hunger Games, Squid Game. It's very much on that vein of a bunch of people fighting for their lives and their survival. And yes, there's a lot of very, very violent moments, but also very human moments. And those things, our humanity is tested along the whole project.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Very
much so.
It's going to change the vertical game for sure. This
And
has never been done before.
And that's what I really love is the vertical whole industry is changing and changing so fast. I think that's great.
And I think, you know, it was great for what it was until now, but now that the audience is expanding and people are getting a little tired of the same story over and over again and the billionaire CEO trope, that I think it was time for a new IP or new ideas and take some risks. And I think we nailed it with this one. So I'm excited for everyone to see it, and I'm excited to see what people have to say, and also for what comes after it, because it's not about we did this really cool thing, but it's about because we did this really cool thing, other companies are going to do cool things too, because we are going to be proof that is a successful business plan. And then it's just going to elevate the industry around us. And I'm very excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah, and Edward says, your character, Forgive Me or Forgive Me Not, is so sweet. I felt bad that Talia stabbed you.
I know. I don't know if you guys have seen that show, but I get stabbed by my girlfriend.
Yep.
My character has a brain tumor, and then she breaks up with me and stabs me. And her defense is because my grandfather, that he was going to pay for my surgery if she did that. So she was actually looking after me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's kind of sick, but that's a whole other conversation. Marcia, let me go to you.
Yeah. Your physical exploits read like every sport, every trick, every
except soccer, right?
Pogo stick.
Except soccer. We don't like soccer.
And also parkour.
Yep.
Parkour to the untrained eye is super dangerous. Yep. So what piqued your interest about parkour?
I think it just looks so cool.
It does.
As a 15-year-old, I would see parkour videos, and I was just like, wow, that looks like superhero stuff, vigilante shit. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to act in, you know? I haven't done, to be fair, and, you know, I haven't done parkour in a couple of years now. I think it's still there, a lot of it, but now I would be very wary of doing a front flip on concrete
Oh my God.
because I got to protect the moneymaker.
There is a show that we have been watching and loving on TNT called Librarians: The Next Chapter, and one of the main characters is a parkour person. His name in the show is Connor. So you might want to check that out. On almost every episode, he does some parkour action.
Is that a vertical?
It's
No.
a regular show on TNT called
Great.
Librarians:
Yeah,
The
I
Next
love that.
Chapter.
And
Yeah.
I feel like at this point in my life, I've gathered so many skills that I think what I'm doing subconsciously is just tap into a bunch of different skills and at least gain the basic knowledge and basic skill. And then whenever I book something, because I can say, hey, I do parkour, right? And I haven't done it in so many years, but the basics are still there. And if I were to book something and train, it would just come back like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so at least I'm better off than somebody that's never done it before. I'm way more ready and months ahead of somebody who were just to start right now for the role. And so that way, if they need a martial artist, a parkour guy, somebody that uses swords, Kali sticks, I'm ready,
You're there. You're there.
Yeah.
And also your penchant for humor. I understand you've been going to groundlings classes, and for people who don't know what the groundlings are,
So Groundlings is an improv school. I actually haven't been in a couple months. I've just been so busy with verticals. This year I've been slacking on my acting school, but I think it's fine.
got to get back into it.
But Groundlings, well, I mean, if you're busy working, just work, yeah.
Work is work.
Also, I learned a lot on set too,
Yeah.
I learned a lot from observing other actors too. But yeah, so Groundlings is an improv school.
Yeah.
And it's located on Melrose, and they're very famous for their improv shows, and they kind of train you to become part of their ensemble for their shows, right? I went there to kind of get skills for myself. I'm not interested in doing improv shows, but I do think that was definitely one of my weakest spots to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, we lost her.
Something with, am I
Did
still
you,
there?
yeah, you're there.
The microphone is going in and out, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, let me know if it does that again.
Better. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think I was very reliant on scripts in the past when something would deviate from the script, I would just freeze and not know what to do. Whereas now, after going to Groundlings, I'm like, okay, I can just play around and just focus on being present and just trusting that whatever I say will be in line with the character and what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been very good.
Mm-hmm. And I also have to say, just out of left field, you kind of remind me a little bit of Mr. Beast. Has anybody ever said?
As in, like, looks?
Yeah, with your eyes and your kind of brilliant smile, it just kind of it reminds me of that. But you have probably.
First time I ever hear this. I've heard a bunch of other stuff, and now that I have this beard that I'm not a big fan of, but it gets me roles. It gets me lead roles in verticals. Because I guess I look like a boy when I shave, and they want that mature look, hyper masculine look. So I'm growing this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, interesting.
But when I shave, I've heard Timothy Chalamet.
Ah, okay, I can see that too.
Heard Zac Efron for the jaw thing. Mm-hmm. I've heard Aiden Gallagher. I've heard a couple.
Okay, now that's going to get into your head, and you're going to have to go look.
Oh yeah, you just ruined my self-esteem. It's totally fine.
Well, maybe you'll get more roles now. You go in there and you think you're, whatever. That'll work. Marshall will be happy. Yeah.
And you said that you weren't interested in soccer, which I have to say, soccer doesn't thrill me either. I am a sports fan though, and I saw you in a Chicago Bulls jacket. So is that a current thing, or was it in the past, or is
Listen,
it
I'm gonna be real honest with you. I'm
Please.
gonna tell you a story.
Yeah.
I get into this cab wearing that jacket, and the cab driver says something to me, kind of like yelling. He says, and I'm like, are you talking to me? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, what are you saying, sir? He's like, the Bulls, man. I'm like, what? I have no idea what you're saying, sir. It's like, your jacket. I'm like, oh, I got it at a vintage. I liked it. I have no idea. I had no idea what the Chicago Bulls wear. I'm not American. You got to remember that. I grew up in Argentina, only left when I was 15. Only been in the States for 3 years. No idea what the Chicago. Even now, I'm having trouble thinking what sport they play.
Oh, you're killing me.
I'm just being honest out here.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. Is it basketball?
Very good.
Very good.
Oh,
Good
okay,
guess.
great.
You're fine.
Great, nailed it. I was like, actually not sure.
Actually, let me
you're standing up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting that you probably don't sit a whole lot, do you?
You can tell from my energy levels that I don't like sitting or laying down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Liz?
Well, I wanted to slide in here with is asking you maybe something a little more your speed from what I'm kind of gauging. Have you ever played any JRPGs? And do you know what they are?
Oh, are you kidding me? Hell yeah.
Good boy. Okay.
Hell yeah. Like, I grew up playing Final Fantasy. I just finished, it's not a JRPG, but I just finished one of the best. It's kind of on that vein. French studio, Expedition 33. Video games I've ever played.
You're cutting in and out a little.
What was that?
You're cutting in and out a little.
Expedition 33? Have you played that game?
I haven't played it. I have seen it played, and it's one I want to do.
One of the best video games I've ever played in my life. And it's very much, in essence, it's essentially a JRPG. Japanese. It's just so much. But yeah, why were you bringing that up? The JRPG.
I just kind of figured you to be, from some of the stuff that I have read, and also the fact that you really don't like sports and you don't really have a clue in soccer, you just seem to be, for me at least, the type more that would do like the JRPGs or do an interest in anime or things like that.
Oh yeah.
Versus,
that's very much.
Yeah. So, and then that's kind of runs along more my speed with a lot of stuff. So, in fact, I drive Michael crazy because on Sunday mornings, me and another host, we actually have an anime review show, which is really kind of funny with everything Japanese. So, yeah, but also going back to China, and China is the birthplace of verticals. Were you ever interested or asked to do a vertical in China before you got introduced to them here?
So when I was in China, verticals were not a thing. I think they started right after I left in 2022.
About right, yeah.
And so I never had the opportunity to do one there. I would be super interested in going to China to film them. I've been offered multiple times. There's just one thing that I don't know if I should be saying this. Whatever, because I'm not American, right? I'm here on one visa, which is an extraordinary visa for actors and content creators. And so I'm just worried that I'm going to leave the country, and when I'm coming back, they're going to say,
yeah,
speak Chinese is weird. We're not going to let you in to El Salvador. I don't know. So
Yeah, I understand.
Just staying in the country.
Yeah, no, I understand your viewpoint 100%. And there are so many verticals that are now filming here within, the United States. Although I do know there is a long-term series, almost like a soap opera per se, being filmed in Argentina. And it's been going on for a while, yes. Yes, and it is almost like, I don't know if you ever heard of the old shows we used to have at night, like Dallas and Knox Landing. If you've ever heard of those, it's kind of run on that same thing of, the opulence, the overlord. It's on a ranch, that
Okay.
whole thing. And it
That
just,
sounds so cool. I had no idea that every time I tell people back at home about verticals, they have no idea what they are.
well, it's kind of funny. I've been doing, and I've been involved in verticals since they first came out in Chinese. And I've kind of infected other people around me. And they
Yeah.
see now they're, oh, okay. But it was funny. I had someone come up to me yesterday, and I literally talk constantly. Well, I've got this going on or that going on, and they dead serious came up to me. Go, I know, I hear you mention this all the time, but what is a vertical? What are you talking about? And I laughed because that's actually one of the questions that we normally ask. Our guests, what do they consider? What do they tell their friends what it is? And I was like, okay, well, it's this and this. And they're like, okay, what do you think that you would, if like your mom and dad ask you what a vertical was?
So I hope I don't get in trouble for this. What I say, I'm just being completely honest. What I say, it's essentially the new soap operas for your phone.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. Yeah.
And then when they're like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, CEO, billionaire, werewolf, very cheesy. And then
Yeah.
people go like, oh yeah, I've seen those on TikTok, and that's when they get it.
Mhm.
Um, but as we said earlier, that's changing. That's the audience of people that like to watch those kind of billionaire. The audience of now they want to go quick.
Also, I think one of the things that's changing is everybody nowadays versus even 10 years ago, but 20 years in past, they're all sitting there glued to their phones, whether they're on a work break, whether they're, catching, the subway to somewhere, they're always looking down on their phones. So, what better way to catch up and watch something would be through a vertical that's shot up and down, not, not horizontal. So I think that's a really great way for the business to start capturing more people as well.
There's clearly a demand for that right now. That's why it's so popular. Um, yeah, I think it's just if you were to have to put the phone horizontally, then there's a lot of things you cannot do at the same time. So I think a lot of people multitask.
Hmm.
Well,
Marcia, do you want to?
Hmm. Well, I just wanted to, when you were talking about the vertical world and how many are being done, there are just so many coming out, and eventually, people work with each other. We find that actors have projects in common, and I noticed in yours we have Aaron Orcutt coming up later, and you and she were in Spoiled by My Vampire Uncle.
yep.
Do you remember
Yeah,
that
that one that
project?
one was very fun. We had a lot of fun filming that one. It was yeah, we all like connected really well on set, even with I mean, we weren't even the main, we were the supporting
Right.
character. We had a whole side arc. And arguably, I think our love story was more interesting than the main one. But um,
Yeah.
well, because that one, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I felt like it was like a little weird because the main character is this vampire that knows her from when she's like 12, and now she's an adult, and they start like dating.
Interesting.
It was kind of like,
It was a
and
bit
then us,
cringe.
like Aaron and I had this thing where we were like, I was classic. I was pretending to date the main girl, but she was actually the girl I was in love with. But I was in it for the money with the other girl, which is also horrible. But yeah, we had a very loving relationship, her character and I. So
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So on when you're, I'm going to ask a Michael question. When you're away from verticals, and we're away from acting, and what kinds of things do you like to do? to relax because you're going.
He doesn't like to relax. He just said that.
I think the world and the universe has been telling me that I need to learn how to relax. But to me, relaxation right now is just go and play pickleball, go and do martial arts. You know what I mean? Like, physical relaxation happens when I sleep mostly. And every once in a while I injure myself, so I'm like forced to relax, and I play video games and broken foot last year. I fractured one of my toes, so I was still going to the gym, which was insane. I like to cook. I'm writing. I wrote a feature film, and I'm writing a pilot right now.
So what genre are you writing? You don't have to tell us what it's about, but I mean, is it comedy, drama, horror?
So the feature film is an action comedy, very much on the vein of Rush Hour.
I just watched that again. Oh my gosh.
This could be good.
So I'll try to give you just a little bit. It's kind of like Rush Hour, but so one of the characters is the Chinese American kid that doesn't want anything to do with his Chinese side. He just wants to be full-on American, and he's like a really good fighter. And his best friend, who's this white guy that loves everything Chinese, and speaks Chinese. And so they end up like dealing with the mafia and the triads and all that. And one can fight, the other one speaks Chinese, and they kind of join forces to save someone. It's really funny.
So I'm guessing you're going to be in it.
I wrote that character for myself, but it's the side character. I'm not the main character. I think that's we don't need another movie where the main guy is a white man that saves the day. Let's just put it that
way. Michael.
Yeah, one last comment in the chat room before we start to wind down. I was going to put this up earlier, but we got off into tangents. Since you grew up in Argentina, how fluent are you in Spanish?
My native language, so very.
Yeah.
That's what I figured, but I said I'll just post that up so they are sure that they know the answer to that. So, before I go for closing questions on the other my other hosts, since Marcia did take my question, which I knew she would, because she did last time too, but we won't go into that.
He'll get me back. Don't worry.
Oh, I know. I have it all planned for our next one in an hour and a half. What would you say would be your ideal vertical to do when you got a script? What would it be about that you'd say, I've got to be in this?
Hypotheticals, right?
Hypothetical, not something that you've seen. No, all hypothetical. And your microphone's gone out again.
A vigilante story.
Oh, okay, vigilante.
Vigilante vertical. Because, look, CEO billionaire that at night puts on a mask and fights crime. Come on. Like Batman without the bat.
Yeah.
I would be so down. That would be my bread and butter. I was born to do something like that.
Well,
I
that's
have a
cool.
thing with vigilantes. Like the person who takes justice into their own hands and goes at night to fight crime and save people. I don't know. My soul gravitates to that kind of story.
There you go. Marcia, your final questions.
My final question and comment is, I sometimes produce panels and things at comic conventions, and I can picture you. I know you're going to be at Verticon. You are going to be amazing. Have you ever done that type of thing before?
I used to do a lot of it in Chinese, which it added an extra layer of difficulty. But yeah, I've been exposed to stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever? Go ahead. I was going to say, have you ever cosplayed?
Oh my God, I've been wanting to.
Gotta do that.
Yeah.
I'm a cosplay content creator instead of a food blogger.
Yeah.
That space.
Wow. You're gonna be a hoot.
Liz.
Yeah, I'll just make two real quick questions. One, because you love swordplay, and you
Yes.
say you want to do like an action hero thing. Have you ever learned fencing?
Fencing? No.
Yeah, that might be something to put in your repertoire, and then maybe do a modern day Zorro.
Zorro. I was thinking about that. That's like the only one thing where they made fencing cool and vigilante is Zorro. Like the I do think that Zorro, I think culturally speaking, he is Mexican, right? If I'm not mistaken.
True, but it doesn't.
Into an IP that already exists with a specific nationality.
Mm.
I mean, I would love to do it. I would love to, and I would put on the right accent, and I would work on the character. I do think that as an Argentinian, that might be seen. I don't know.
Mm.
Well, maybe do something Argentinian born from, it doesn't have to be Zorro per se, but just that. Yeah.
And it could be somebody that uses a katana instead of a fencing sword.
Exactly.
Oh, they're
Exactly.
cool.
Or Cali sticks.
Yeah, exactly. And
So my like ultimate hero that I would love to play is Nightwing, which he uses
Ooh.
Cali stickers at the end.
yeah,
Like a non-lethal weapon, badass, and
yeah, that
Very
would be really fun. And my final question is, and you can give it to me off air if you have it, or if you want to put it on air. I want your vegan lemon pound cake, your protein pound cake. I want the recipe for that.
the cake, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll send it to you because I made it myself. It doesn't exist.
Oh, you just made it up.
Made it up.
Oh.
I grabbed 3 different recipes and I mixed them together.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Thank you.
No, I don't have it in my head, so I would have to send it to
Oh,
you.
no, that's fine. You can send it to me whenever. Michael, I'm going to toss it back to you one last
Oh,
time.
okay. Yeah, one last time. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. Sorry the microphone kept cutting out, but that happens. But we love to have you. If you would like to
Yeah.
come back, please let us know. After your other movie release, after you've done Verticon or whatever that you do.
For sure.
But
I have a lot to talk about. That show is out.
Yeah, and fun times today because you're our first of 3 vertical guests today. At 3 p.m., 12 p.m. Pacific, we have Erin Orcott, and you talked about her. So she's going to be on at 3 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, 2 p.m. Pacific time, Riley Nottingham will be joining us. So we've got a whole bunch going on today. So everyone, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.